So, Dan, you really like George Thorogood?
I like George Thorogood.
Really?
Yes.
What does he sing?
Gayer Jammer.
Gear Jammer.
That's not. Wow. That's
that
like
it?
Satchmo mixed with Crossfire.
Did you know that when George Thorogood drinks alone, he prefers to be by himself?
I do. I've heard that.
Is he just saying that like he's pointing it out to people? Like, hey, I'm drinking alone. I prefer to be by myself. And then he's like, fuck, I'll write a song about it because nobody's obviously listening. They keep coming up and talking to me.
No, a lot of the stuff that he
Well,
took.
I mean, if you ran into George Thorogood at a bar, I mean, I'd probably want to talk to him.
A lot of the stuff that he took from Stevie Ray Vaughan. But
Yeah.
I like George Thorogood.
All those 12-bar blues riffs.
I used to play Oblivion nonstop while listening to Gear Jammer.
Well, I could be last night about 12:30.
Okay. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on, I got it. Okay.
Okay.
Dan's trying to sing, sounds like he's shitting himself. Moving on over.
Moving on over.
Rocking on over.
It's a good song.
Who sings that?
George Thorogood.
Oh.
Who
What
are-
does Stevie Ray Vaughan
Bad to
sing?
the Bone. No,
Oh.
Stevie Ray Vaughan sings, he does Mary Had a Little Lamb. Doesn't he do
What?
It's like a blues
version?
version. Nope.
Nope. That's metal. That's metal.
Stevie Ray Vaughan sings Pride and Joy.
See my pride
okay.
and joy.
No, I don't like that. No.
Yeah,
You don't
I
like-
don't care for the music, but he's a hell of a musician.
He's a
That's
hell of a
contemporary
musician.
blues, man.
You're contemporary blues, man.
I wish. I'd have a lot of followers.
You go to any?
Blues is good stuff.
Do you go to any blues clubs here in town?
No, in
Smoky
Cleveland there
scene.
was the what do they call it, the blues
House of Blues.
House of Blues.
Yep.
That was pretty
Oh,
sweet.
good.
Your cats are fighting. But yeah, I like Muddy Waters, Howlin'
Muddy
Wolf,
Waters. Nailed it.
Watermelon Johnson,
Don't
Natalie. None of them sound like that.
They all sound like
Johnny Lang, Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
I love
Oh.
Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Blue
Blue
on Black.
on
That's
Smoke.
the
Black.
only song I've ever heard by
You
You
him.
should listen to Was
No.
Yes.
or Aberdeen.
That whole album is great.
Yeah, he's a good musical guitarist.
He's pretty young, isn't he?
No, he is not young.
Oh.
He was young when he wrote those songs.
Do you like
So was I.
any of the newer music that's trying to sound old like that? I don't like them, but they're trying to sound like Led Zeppelin.
Talking about
Oh,
Greta
yeah.
Van Fleet.
Yeah.
Greta Van
Ugh.
Fleet, or I don't mind it.
Okay.
That
Yeah, okay.
dude has a really good voice, but they were on SNL a couple weeks ago, and they were the musical guests, and they were awful.
Seeing his
Really?
voice
Yeah.
is the
I
one
can't
thing I
handle
don't
it.
like about that band.
You don't like the high octaves? He can hit a fucking octave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
He
can.
can.
I mean, he sounds like a 1970s.
They
rock
actually when Led Zeppelin's when they did an interview with Led Zeppelin and Rolling Stone, and they were talking about the band, and he's like, "Yeah, I met the kid. And I didn't like him, but goddamn, he can match my voice."
You didn't like him?
No,
Why?
because he's better than him. I'm
Really?
assuming. I don't
I
know.
don't-
Because they're getting really big really fast.
They're
It took Led
very
Zeppelin a
big.
while to get as big as they were.
But I mean, that was different times of music.
Yeah.
When did Zeppelin come out? I don't even.
star.
I've heard like
60s,
two
70s.
songs. maybe.
1964, 5, I want to say. Look it
Oh,
up.
okay.
Look it up. Look it up.
Oh, yeah,
Look it
I'm
up.
the
Yeah,
research
okay.
Look it up.
guy.
Look it up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of Rush, though. So people hate Rush.
Oh,
Nobody
Rush is
realizes
awesome.
that. Well, at least nobody I've talked to realizes that like the Black Keys did that Little Black Submarine
Yeah,
song,
Little Black
I
Submarine.
love Little Black
and that is
Keys.
the chorus from Stairway to Heaven.
Black Keys got trashed a lot when they were first coming out. In 1968 is when Led Zeppelin came around. But they got trashed for a bit when they came out. And I saw them on SNL a long fucking time ago. Huge fan of them ever since. I met Dan, the lead guitarist.
I haven't heard anything new from them.
Their last album was bad.
It wasn't great.
Oh.
Yeah.
Their first 3 albums, though, amazing.
I like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
El Camino and Brothers are both
Yeah.
excellent
I like 'em.
albums. And then I can't remember the one with the like egg on it. The like Fabergé egg on the cover.
Oh,
Strange Times? It had Strange Times on it, but I can't remember what the album was
I
called.
can't remember actually. Yeah, look it up because it's been a while since I've actually put them in the old CD cassette player. That's not a thing, is it?
A what?
CD cassette player.
Oh, thick freak.
Fur.
Thick
Oh,
freakness.
Thick Freakness, and then there was
And
Attack and Release.
Magic Potion.
Yeah, I was talking about Magic Potion's the one I'm talking about.
Best one right there is that one. Brothers.
I don't know. I gotta go with El Camino as my
Do you
favorite
like any
from theirs.
horror-based shock rock stuff?
Horror-based shock rock? Misfits. Misfits is my favorite band in the whole goddamn world.
I liked Rob Zombie when I was younger. Like,
I loved Rob Zombie growing up.
because I used to
and
play
Marilyn
Twisted
Manson.
Metal.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, well, he did the Twisted Metal
yeah,
Black
Dracula.
soundtrack.
He did the Twisted Metal 2 soundtrack.
I don't think that's true.
It's 2 or 3, I guarantee it.
Twisted
Nick's
Metal
looking it
Black
up.
is the one that he did. But I loved White Zombie, and I liked Hellbilly Deluxe, and
Who did American Music to Strip By? Like,
that's him.
was
Yeah.
that White Zombie
No.
or Rob
It's
Zombie?
Rob
That's Rob.
Zombie.
Rob Zombie did Twisted Metal 4.
4, sorry. We were both wrong.
You were
And
both
his car Dragula was in that game too. I remember that.
Yeah.
wrong.
And he was the driver for
That
that
was
car.
a bad game.
He's coming with Marilyn Manson. I want to see Marilyn Manson. But I don't want to see Rob Zombie. So.
Yeah.
I think
well-
Twisted Metal is what Rocket League kind of modeled their movement and stuff after.
I miss Twisted Metal. Those games.
You think
were awesome.
Rocket League came from that? I think Rocket League came from just
Soccer.
a soccer game.
Yeah.
That's all it was. Sonics got really big after they made that second Rocket League, because the first one was called Battle Cars. But no, the horror-based bands usually goes to punk, and it's Misfits all the way. I know more about that band than anyone I fucking know.
What about the Murder Dolls?
Murder Dolls were actually a pretty good band. I
Yeah.
liked Wednesday 13.
Did Nikki Sixx put them together from Motley Crue, didn't he?
It was him, AC Slade from Dope, and
Did you hear Motley Crue's doing a Netflix show, and they've got 4 songs, original tracks coming out. They're not doing an album. They're doing 4 original tracks for that the Motley Crue. I don't know if it's like a documentary or what it is,
no, I haven't heard that.
but yeah.
But yeah, Misfits, every single one of their songs is based off of a horror movie or sci-fi fantasy movie, and they're just the best band in the world. They need to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. They really do.
I'm sure they will someday.
Ramones made it. They can't keep Misfits out forever. It's got to happen, especially now that Danzig and Only and Von Doyle are all singing together.
Mother.
Yeah, that's one of his most famous songs, but nobody knows him from Astro Zombies.
No, I don't.
No, I meant the song Astro Zombies, but yeah, man, Misfits are the shit. I wish they would come out with a new album already. It's been forever.
I saw a meme the other day. It said it had Dio on it, and then he was all sweaty, and it said Dio, and then under it said Durant. Strong enough for a rock god.
I was never a huge fan of Dio.
Me either.
What do they sing?
Holy Diver.
Yeah.
Oh,
Holy
I
Diver.
like
Rainbow in the
the
Dark.
Seven Dust cover of that.
Seven Dust did a cover of that? Are you sure? That was Killswitch Engage.
Yeah.
Yeah, Killswitch Engage. I get those two bands mixed
Seven
up.
Dust did.
They sound exactly alike to me.
Really?
Yes.
Killswitch Engage and Seven Dust? They don't sound
Yeah.
anything like to me.
They do to me. And then Shinedown and Seether sound exactly like me. I
Really?
like them both.
I always get Shinedown, Hoobastank, and Switchfoot
What?
mixed up.
Dang.
Are you
Yeah,
serious?
I always get those 3
They
mixed
don't
up.
sound
Not that they all
anything
sound alike,
Oh my god.
but I always get them mixed up.
Oh. That's weird.
I think Seether and Shinedown.
I get Nick
sound
Nolte
alike.
and Gary Busey mixed up.
That's true. I do.
That's
That's
fair.
Do you
easy.
really?
Yes. Because they both have blonde hair and they're both crazy.
and they
looking.
talk the same.
Gary Busey talks like this.
Jesus jumped it.
He was in Under Siege. Or no, On Deadly Ground.
He was in Under Siege.
Are you sure it was under? I can't
Yeah.
remember which one he was in.
Yeah.
Look it up, Nick.
Nick, you're earning your money tonight with the looking ups of stuffs.
He's like, that's not what I'm here for, guys. God damn
Oh, wait, we don't pay you. Never mind.
it. We're poor.
We offered you.
Yeah, it was
earlier.
Under Siege, I think.
Seems like a good time.
Oh
to
no,
bring
it's
up our
Tommy Lee
Patriots.
Jones. Tommy Lee Jones is in Under Siege.
Yeah.
Well, Gary Busey.
Oh, and Gary Busey, I guess so.
Steven Seagal, Gary Busey, Tommy Lee Jones.
Casey fucking Ryback.
Who was the girl that jumped out of the cake in Under Siege 2?
Ooh, that was the ship one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think I've seen that movie.
I don't know. She was blonde.
She's she's famous.
She was
Shit.
in Baywatch, I think. Here, look it up.
The only blonde I remember from Baywatch is Pam Anderson.
While he's looking that up.
We didn't watch that show. We were too young for that.
Baywatch?
Yeah. I mean,
Some people stand in the darkness. Others are drawn to light.
Were you too young to watch red bathing suit boobs bounce up and down on the beach, Dan?
Fuck no. Although I thought that show was really fucking stupid.
Did you
Who
see
has
the
that?
movie with The Rock? It's
No.
pretty funny,
I
dude.
didn't
There's
have
some
to see
really
that.
funny
Yeah,
parts
that
in it.
movie was actually pretty funny.
It's way better than the show was.
Is it Christy Swanson? That's not her. It can't be. Oh yeah, no, that was who was Erika Eleniak? Yeah, she was in Baywatch.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was her. That's all she's really known for.
jumping out of a cake and running on a beach.
Yeah, it's got to be kind of a short career there, but whatever.
tell us
Yeah,
about
she-
your work history. Do you like cakes? Do you like beaches? I am the girl for you.
I've done 3 bar mitzvahs.
Have you guys watched Barry
No.
Oh,
no,
with
I haven't watched it yet.
with Bill Hader?
Bill Hader. Yes,
It's fucking amazing. You need to watch that
it's
show.
good. I like Bill Hader though.
It's
So
one of my.
I love Bill Hader.
He's the best, and he actually. I think that he should do an action movie.
Yeah.
I think he should. He makes as funny as he is. I think he'd make a great action star.
He does
doesn't
good
have
in
the look,
dramas
though.
too.
Yeah, to me he does.
When you think about it, though, Nicolas Cage didn't have the look.
he's
Dennis Rodman didn't. He did one. He did 2.
Look at Die Hard. Bruce Willis. He doesn't look like an
Yeah,
action star. He just
came
looked
from-
like an average dude. That's part of his action appeal, I think.
I love Bruce Willis.
Come on, John.
He kind of looks like an action star now.
No, he doesn't. He looks like an old turtle now.
If he wasn't a
Yeah.
action star and he walked by, you'd be like, "There's some old dude."
Yeah. I heard he is an asshole in real life.
He is. I listened
He
to Kevin
sings.
Smith's autobiography, and Kevin Smith was talking about when they were filming Cop Out, and he said Bruce Willis is the hardest actor he's ever had to work with. He's such a cry. He trashed Bruce Willis in this autobiography.
Did you ever
Wow.
see the footage of
I
him
still
doing
like him.
the band? Bruce Willis, he was singing
Oh,
under the boardwalk.
yeah, he does. He plays a harmonica like crazy though.
Yeah. You know Steven Seagal plays guitar. He
Yeah.
collects, I believe, Guild guitars.
Guild.
They're really nice. I like
Johnny
Guild.
Depp will come out on stage with Marilyn Manson occasionally and play guitar for a couple songs.
Will he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Johnny
never
Depp
heard
and
that.
Marilyn Manson are like best friends.
Hey, Marilyn, how's it going? You seen any of my movies?
What does Marilyn Manson sound like when he talks? He's pretty normal sounding.
He kind of sounds like this.
Yeah,
A
he
little
doesn't
bit.
really have a.
Like he's trying to make his voice deeper so he doesn't sound like a boy Dexter.
Even though that dude's tall as
Ah.
fuck though.
Yeah, he is.
Like even without the platform boots. I used to love Marilyn Manson. Nowadays I just don't really care.
His
Oh,
new album is
Beautiful
great.
People is in the Sweet Dreams cover.
See, I was
Oh, yeah,
my favorite
Sweet
album
Dreams
from
was
them
so
was
good.
Portrait of American Family.
Dope Show.
Dope hat.
Dope Hat was better than Dope Show. Dope Show was kind of boring. I didn't like Mechanical Animals.
Right.
I can't remember the name of his new one, but it is really good.
So, before it gets away from us, hi everybody.
Come back.
Oh, hey everyone, look.
Hello.
Look with your ears and look with your eyes
What?
and ears.
Ears, ears.
You can't even get it white steel.
Got bad
Um,
ear sight.
This is the Don't Look Under the Bed podcast, the podcast for all things comedy and horror. I'm one of your rockin' hosts,
Oh,
Ooh.
Dan Wonder. Next to me is,
Natalie Tubular Rose.
next to her is
I am Vinnie Tweedly Deaton. Rose.
Tweedledee Deaton. Is that from like the 50s?
Tweedly Deaton.
No, okay. And the next to me again is
Nicholas Gnarly Myers.
Gnarly
Y'all, man.
My.
Dude.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
Gnarly.
come
Gnarly.
on. No.
Yeah, dude. Up top, bro.
And Vinny's
Shredding
in
the
the
dog.
house.
I'm Vinny. You're fucking gnar shredding host, dude. Sup?
Stop. What a duh.
Hi, Vinny.
Hey,
How
bro.
you been?
You know, just busy surfing and napping, dude, on the beach.
You nap
nap
on the
now?
beach?
Yeah, dude.
I thought when you shred,
I get tired shredding the gnar sometimes, dude.
you just fall asleep on the beach.
Sometimes, dude, you just gotta take it all in.
That sounds gross. Have you seen anyone take your stuff though?
No,
I wouldn't
dude.
fall asleep on the beach at
No,
all.
dude,
Someone
I'm
steal
at
your wallet.
one with the universe, dude.
No, that doesn't mean that everyone else is though, and they can
Yeah.
take your shit.
Yeah, dude, it's my aura, bro.
You know, with Vinny having his hair down right now, he actually has that beach bum.
I'm
thing
a
going on
curly-headed
right
fuck.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of these bars of soap.
I'm gonna put a rat trap between your legs.
It's such a great movie.
It is one of my favorite movies ever.
Oh man. But this is the Don't Look in the Bed podcast.
And thanks for joining us.
And thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Hope you have a fun.
love having you here.
Hope you have a fun evening, and hope we can do something for it.
Yeah.
Johnny, play me out.
You make us feel special.
That's not
Oh,
what I was
no.
going for.
I like it.
So, I was watching TV the other night, and I saw I flipped through Stupid Wrestling was on, and
Stupid wrestling,
well,
or just
I don't
wrestling
like
that's
it anymore.
stupid?
I used to like wrestling. I used to like.
I do want to see that
WCW.
fighting. I do want to see that Fighting with My Family movie.
It's
That's
all
been
cool,
getting
completely
like, really
real.
good reviews.
What is that? What is Fighting with My Family?
It's a movie about people trying to get into wrestling camp or some shit.
Oh wow.
But anyway, I thought, wouldn't it be funny if like horror icons like Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, people like that actually fought in like WCW in
Just like a wrestling match?
yeah. I mean, it's kind of already been done probably with Celebrity Deathmatch.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You remember that show?
Oh
I do.
God, I missed that show.
They were supposed to bring that back, I thought.
They were. Well, they were supposed to bring back Beavis and Butthead, and they only did one season, and then they canceled it again.
Which MTV channel would that have to be on? MTV 5 or something?
How many is there?
I have no clue. I don't
Oh.
watch cable anymore.
I gave up on MTV a long time ago. In fact, when Headbangers Ball quit. That's how old I am.
Actually, when I was at the gym the other day, it was during the daytime, and they had like old school rap videos on, like 90s rap.
Nice.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was pretty
That
great.
girl,
And it
these
wasn't like
boys,
it wasn't like and here's what we're going to talk about. It was just like straight videos. I was like, "Oh, nice."
I remember when Fuse was on
Oh, yeah.
the Canadian channel, MTV, and everyone loved it because they played a bunch of stuff that you didn't see on MTV.
Yeah.
If you were alive in the 90s and you didn't like Motown Philly, you're dead to me.
Motown Phillies.
Do you remember
back
when I did a
again.
dance for that for the talent show?
The talent show? You did do
Uh-huh.
that?
Yep.
How'd it go?
Oh. It's not going to get me into any dance studios. It was like me and a couple other people.
Best rendition of Motown Philly was done by the gang from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when they redid it, and they were doing it in the bathroom. The acoustics are really good in here. I haven't watched cable or MTV for about 8 years.
Yeah,
Maybe more.
We don't have it.
What is
We
the point?
had direct TV when he used to work there, but
Every time I flip through channels on TV, I just think, why am I watching this garbage? And then I turn it off.
We shout out to HBO. We have HBO added with our Hulu package, and it's pretty nice.
Girl, how
And
can
stars.
you not wait for that Game of Thrones?
girl,
You know what? Can we talk about that? Can we talk about Game of Thrones?
We can talk about anything we want.
Are you caught up?
Yeah.
All right.
Spoilers, skip ahead to...
For a couple of minutes.
It's
at
going to be a
least.
couple minutes. Okay, starting now. So at the end of the last season, when the perfectly prototypical World of Warcraft party was on the
yeah,
right,
yeah,
they were. There's like a paladin and
yeah, Leroy Jenkins.
right, but they were separated from the White Walkers by what?
Water.
Right. So why couldn't the White Walkers get to them?
I don't know.
Because they can't go in the water, correct?
Okay.
Okay. Then how in the fuck did they get the chains on the dragon?
I don't know.
That was my question after we watched it. I'm like, wait a minute.
Maybe they'll address that in the show. I have no idea.
Because I'm like, who the fuck put the chains on the dragon? I
Well,
don't understand what's going on here.
well, the chains on the dragon that the White Walkers took.
Yeah, they shot the dragon down,
Uh-huh.
and then it fell in the water,
Mm-hmm.
and then they chained it up. And second of all, who in the fuck brought the chains?
I don't know.
Just a
I
chain.
think you're... Girlie on record.
Turn it up.
Just a couple of questions. And I love the show. I especially love Emilia Clarke.
Really?
Oh,
I
Why?
see. You know what? I hated her in the books.
I didn't really care for
Ugh.
Khaleesi's story.
or
Arya's after a while. I'm like, okay, we get it, Arya. You're done.
She's never done. Arya's a little badass.
My favorite...
Yeah, Arya's awesome.
Okay, who's your favorite character in Game of Thrones? Vance?
even though he's dead, it was Khal Drago.
Really?
He's just such a badass dude.
I didn't like him either. I didn't like Khaleesi's storyline. But okay, Khal Drogo. So who's your favorite? Like,
Well, my favorite overall character is Tyrion. Definitely.
I think that's.
I
a
gotta
I
lot.
bring
drink
the
and I
damn
know
thing
things.
up. It's been so long.
Also like the guy that was learning to read from the girl with the little stone face disease.
You're talking about Davos.
Yes.
Oh, the Onion Knight.
Yeah. She said Knigget. He's like,
Knigget.
how come I have to learn to read? She's like, so you don't say Knigget.
That poor
Whoa.
girl.
Yeah, she. Yeah. Spoilers. She dies. Nick, who's your favorite character?
Oh God, mine would be a toss-up between Arya and Tyrion. I don't know. I love Arya. She's a little badass, but I also want to give a shout out to the Faceless God.
Yes.
That dude was awesome.
And the Red Witch.
Oh, the Red Witch. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we know why Vance watches Game of Thrones. Jeez.
I really wish they wouldn't resort to that sometimes, though.
For
I
the
feel like
rich
it
story.
cheapens it. The nudity. I feel like it cheapens the
You
shit.
know who
out
I
of it.
am super annoyed by though?
Don't say Jon Snow.
No, his sister.
Oh, you don't like Sansa?
Sansa.
Dude, her story arc is amazing.
I like Sansa.
She's just annoying. The shit
I like
out of me.
Sansa. I like her storyline. I just don't like the character. I don't know.
The girl.
And I
just-
really like
I don't
Jamie
know, I'm just not a
Lannister.
fan of her.
Except for
I
the
love
whole
Jamie.
banging his sister thing. Like,
I
Really?
love Jamie.
How about the fact that he pushed a kid out of a 10-story window?
That'll happen. Things I do for
hey,
love
that kid was being fucking intrusive.
No, he
in
really
his
wasn't.
own home.
I'm just saying, yeah, it is exactly.
Okay, I like who Jamie Lannister's character is.
So you like his arc.
Yeah.
I always like when a real shithead kind of comes around and turns into a better person.
He's
I
kind of
think-
like the Deadpool of Game of Thrones now. Like he's not technically a hero, but he's still like fighting for the good guys.
I think
sort
he's
of.
tired of fighting. I think is the big
Yeah.
issue with Jamie. We should just call this the Game of Thrones episode because there's so much ground we could
Yeah.
cover.
We could
Have
talk
you read
about
the
this
books?
forever.
Have you read the
She
books?
has. I have not.
Okay, I've read the books, and I watched the show alongside reading the books, and I didn't mind this. I didn't mind the
figured-
diplomacy they took with it.
I've seen the whole series. Why would I want to read the books they wrote about him?
They're different.
They're a little different.
It's way different.
But my favorite, I have two characters I love: the Hound,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I
The
like
Hound
the
is
Hound
awesome.
a lot.
and I love Jon Snow.
Yeah, he's a badass.
But it would be a toss up between those two, leaning more towards Jon Snow than the Hound, because Jon Snow is he is the fighter. He is the one who can bring everything together.
Do you like my Jon Snow hair?
I used to have Jon Snow hair, and now it's gone.
I also really love the Night King just because he looks like such a freaking badass.
Yeah.
Shout out to the White Walkers too. They're all pretty awesome.
The
Yeah.
true owners of the earth. Natalie, who's your favorite character?
I really like Tormund Giantsbane. Even he's not like a huge character.
Right.
He's still fun. Because of his obsession with Brienne of Tarth.
Right.
And then I like a lot of people. I like Cersei. She's a nut job, and I love her.
I can't stand Cersei.
Me either. I don't like
She's a
the
horrible
actress.
person, and I
The way
absolutely
she's
love her.
written, there's no really redeeming quality to her.
There's not.
No.
There's not supposed
No.
to be. I'm okay with that. It's okay to have your bad guy because then you can root for the.
I like-
good guy. But I really do like Jamie's story arc too.
I like the bear, Jorma Momart.
Yes.
Jorma Momart.
Vegemite.
Vegemite.
Sandwich.
The old lady was pretty fun.
Which one?
The
the-
grandma to the
from-
redhead.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like
Natalie Dormer's character.
Samuel Tarly.
Samwell's awesome.
Yeah,
He's
Samuel's
amazing.
I loved Hodor.
If there was
Yeah.
no Samwell, you would not have the story.
You know
Nope.
who I hate? Bran.
Why don't you like
yeah,
Bran?
I don't like him either.
I don't
He's
like Bran.
Fucking annoying. It's
He's
like
so annoying.
so far to me, it's been like, why does he need to be in? This?
He's like the Carl of Game
He's
of
a
Thrones.
very important part,
Carl.
I would think, in
He
this,
is.
isn't he?
He's a what?
A very important part.
Oh,
in
he's
this.
He
huge.
is.
He's huge in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there would be no. I don't think there would be any story without Samwell. And that's
yeah.
the beautiful. That's the beautiful thing about his character. It's
Yeah,
like,
he's amazing.
he's
And I
a-
love him and Gilly.
yeah, Gilly. Gilly's annoying.
No, she's perfect. She's a wonderful, just simple-minded little person, and I love her. Kind of root for the underdogs.
And your dags. All right. Well, Natalie, what do we have going on tonight before we get off track?
Before.
Well, today we're going to talk about mass vanishings.
And this is more than one person vanishing at a time, right?
That's the word mass.
I think some of the inspiration.
What gave it away?
I think some of the inspiration for this episode is we lost a few episodes on my old hard drive.
Ain't that the truth?
Well, before we get into that, we do have an email.
Okay.
Nick, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
All right. This email is from Megan again. Megan sent us an email a couple weeks ago.
Megan.
What's up,
She
girl?
Decided to send us an email again.
What's up, girl?
What it do? What it do? What it do?
Call me white chocolate.
All right. So Megan,
Megan,
wants to
what's
know.
up?
Megan wants to know, what are your favorite and least favorite horror movie tropes?
Dan, will you explain trope?
Okay, a trope is something that you see in a horror movie over and over and over again, and in different movies. So, for instance, the girl running through the woods and trips on a log. That is a horror movie trope. A stupid jump scare, which is my least favorite, which I'll get into in just a moment. Those are tropes. The car not starting even though the monster's right behind them, or tremor, if you will. There's a million different horror movie tropes, each one more annoying than the last sometimes. Vance, what is your favorite horror movie trope, and what is your least favorite?
My favorite one is like after everything's kind of said and done, someone's usually going to the puzzle factory. Like they're hauling them away in a cop car to fucking insane asylum.
Oh, okay.
I'm flying.
My least favorite
That's like
one
a
is
perfect example.
Yeah, Natalie was talking about the craft at the end. Do you remember
Can
the?
I take yours?
No. I
No,
was doing
no.
off yours.
No, she was just doing an impression of
My
Crucible.
least favorite is when people are getting it on and they get murdered while they're doing it.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That bothers me.
yeah, okay.
Why does it bother you?
I don't know.
Because I wouldn't want somebody interrupting me.
Oh, shut up.
It's your husband.
You can't
That's
say
your
that,
sister,
though.
Dan.
Yeah.
No, but that's
Yeah.
not.
Think about what you
Who
just
do you
said
think he
then.
sleeps with?
Nick, you made it gross.
Dog.
No, you made it gross.
Natalie, what's your favorite horror movie trope?
Man, the sunshine at the end. It's always like, oh, and then it was a whole
Is that-
shitty rain village, and now it's like sunny.
Whole shitty rain village.
Yeah, like the city is like all crappy weather, and then they kill the bad guy or whatever, and then it's like the sun comes out. Like that was pan out of like trees.
Okay,
Hey, you know what else? Can I go with one more?
go ahead.
They say like in horror movies people hang a lot. And there's 10 horror movie hangings. There's let's see, what movie was this? There's a lot. There's let's see, Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Mm-hmm.
The Omen, Scream, I know, in Sinister, like Final Destination, and I just thought of something funny. That's a trope on a rope.
Oh my god.
Man, it took you that long to get there.
Oh my god.
There was so much buildup, and that wasn't even worth it, man.
It's like the worst.
I think people are going to appreciate that.
I don't know. Is that what you appreciate?
Natalie,
about
what's your least favorite trope?
The girl falling.
the girl falling through the woods?
God.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like
Really,
you were,
anybody falling
you
through
were
the
running
woods.
fine before.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
It's so stupid.
And here's the problem with mine. I've got way too many I fucking hate,
You? No.
and
Stop.
only about one or two that I like.
You? No.
It's just so bad. One that I like though is when the movie's all said and done, and they do the pan out, and it's the guy who didn't do it, and then he's gone, but the guy who did do it is still alive.
He's the cop or something.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
cop or something. I'm like, oh snap, it's the other guy. Here's some that I hate. I can't stand it. I can't stand jump scares. They're fucking cheap and stupid. And I'll explain one to
They
you.
get me.
They're
Ugh,
dumb.
I hate them. They get
I
me.
think they take away from the actual suspense of the story.
Especially when half the movie is not suspenseful, and then they try to do it with fucking jump scares. I like seriously, jump scares ruin the movies. They're not fun. They make people startle for a minute. That's not being scared. That's just being startled for a second. That's about it. But I hate those, and I hate. Did you ever see Creep?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I loved that movie until I saw the very end, and I thought the very end was the stupidest part about that whole movie.
I don't know if I've
Where
seen
he jumps into the camera and goes, rah!
You know what?
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
my god.
Same
that
thing with
ruined
The
it.
Village. I liked The Village until the end.
I liked it.
What happened in the end of the Village? I can't remember that one.
They weren't
yeah.
like some old.
Oh, they were just.
timey.
It was like a twist, right? They were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a Shyamalan
It
twist.
was modern. It was
I liked
modern.
it. I thought it was cool. I'm like, all right.
It's cool.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
The Village wasn't what I wanted it to be.
Nick, what is your favorite and least favorite?
Least favorite is when horror movies have like a bad ending. And let me elaborate on that. Is when it's like, oh, we killed the killer, and then the killer's not actually dead.
Oh, when they open their eyes or something?
Yeah.
So every
Like,
horror
that's
movie
just so
ever.
tacky.
Every Jason, Freddy.
Yeah. My favorite horror movie trope is finding out that there's like some supernatural cause of the killer or the happenings, what have you.
Like the movie The Happening.
I never saw it.
Oh my god.
The trees,
I've
they're
seen it.
talking. I don't know what's going on. It's crazy.
I thought it was a comedy.
I thought it was bad.
I thought it was like supposed to be a comedy movie. I'm like, I don't understand this.
I saw
Like
it.
Drag Me to Hell. That was a comedy. that was good.
You in that damn movie.
I fucking love
You're
that movie.
obsessed with that movie.
All right.
I watched like the first 30 minutes of it and shut it off.
Did
I
you
was
say
like,
your
I can't do
favorite?
this.
Did you say your favorite?
Yeah, my favorite is like supernatural
Oh, okay.
The show
causes
Supernatural.
for- No. God, no.
Oh, Jensen Ackles.
Girl.
He's a tall drink of moo juice,
He's
if
not
you
real
ask
tall,
me.
but he is
Tall
adorable.
drink of what?
Moo juice. Milk.
Yeah.
He does because he does a body good.
God.
Well, thank you, Megan, for your email.
Yeah, thanks, Megan.
That was a
if-
fun one.
And hey, Vance,
F-U-N.
Yeah, Dan.
how can other people write us emails?
Well, they can email us at don'tlookunderthebedpodcast@gmail.com. We've got a new guy running our social media. His name's Eric. He's been doing it for a couple weeks now. So pop into our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Say hi. Ask him some questions, man. He's pretty good at getting back to people. So that's kind of what we wanted there, and he's a good egg. You can also check our website out, don'tlookunderthebed.net. It's got links to all of our social medias, different ways that you can listen to our podcast, like links to our YouTube, and I think our iTunes and Spotify are on there as well.
Okay.
Super.
Natalie, let's get into it. We got mass vanishings, which means more than one person vanished. Excuse me. And no, what do we got?
All right. We're going to start with Northern Canada
Inuit.
I know.
You paused. I'm sorry. You
I
paused.
don't have my glasses on and my eyes are really blurry.
You want mine?
No, I'll throw up.
It's like a fun house on your head.
I'm like Bubbles. It's by Lake Anjikuni. That one I probably didn't say right. It was once a prosperous fishing village with a population of about 1,200 to 2,500 people. It is a very icy and cold place to live. So in November of 1930, a fur trapper named Joe LaBelle, he had been to this village a few times before. He's pretty familiar with it, pretty familiar with the people. He would go there and get his supplies and rest in between, like while he followed his lines. So this time, however, when he went to the village in 1930 of November, no one came to welcome him, which he thought was weird. He then heard...
Nobody liked him.
Hello? They just shunned him. He then heard a silence except for the wind. So he very desolate.
She's like the wind.
Set the scene
Except
for
Dirty
you.
Dancing? Yeah, I think so.
Could
Dirty
be.
Dancing. He shouted aloud but heard nothing back. He went further into the village and saw a pack of emaciated sled dogs dead in the snow, frozen
What
solid.
the fuck?
Aw.
I know. Poor
That's
little angels.
depressing.
I just pictured the little angels like, it's okay, we're going to heaven, because
Don't
that's where
think about
dogs
it.
go.
The Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah. He looked into some of the shacks where people lived and saw personal belongings still there, which included weapons and rifles. There were meals on the tables and pots of food left over in the now extinguished cooking fires. He saw no signs of a struggle and nothing out of the ordinary, minus all the people being gone. So he ended up leaving the village. He made his way to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, where they launched an investigation into the matter. They went back to the village, saw the same exact thing. People were gone, stuff was still there, no extra anythings. They said even the food storage houses were untouched. So they also found, this is kind of weird, they found sacred graves were emptied, but there was no signs of footprints leading off anywhere. So I don't know if that maybe was covered by the snow.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah. They also, let's see, November 23rd, 1930, the Toronto Daily Star had an article talking about the town as well, which I would love to find that article. I should have looked for it. Allegedly, people from other towns reported seeing lights in the sky over the abandoned village. You know how people talk, like they hearsay. Before LaBelle even discovered the village bare of people, but no other information has come to light about the villagers' disappearance.
So the whole shebang is gone.
Yep.
And the dude went to go grab somebody. At least he was smart enough to do that. I'd be like, hey, what the fuck is going on? That's crazy.
Sounds like the plot to a survival horror video game.
Like Silent
Honestly.
Hill.
Yeah.
So Vinny's trying to find the article now, and it was from November 23rd, 1930. I don't know.
Wow.
All right. So while he's looking that up, excuse me, I don't know if he'd be able to find that. I would have, maybe they would have it in an archive. Possibly. All right. Roanoke Island. It's off the coast of North Carolina. It was the first permanent English colony of the New World. About 120 settlers made up of men, women, and children. They were led by John White, whose own granddaughter, Virginia Dare, was to be the first English person born on the continent of North America. So colony life was difficult, as you would assume. We've all played Oregon Trail. We kind of know how this goes down.
Fucking dysentery.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine all the things that... Because, well, basically what happened was they had bad weather, and they had a really big lack of supplies, which they thought they'd be okay, and they weren't. And they also had a not-so-great relationship, believe it or not, between a Native American colony that made life hard.
So, were there any places on the Oregon Trail that are famous or notorious for, like, just a bad murder type of death mass bullshit happening?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That'd be fun to find
we can
out.
look it up. I mean, this is obviously before Oregon Trail, but I can imagine it's probably close to the same despair and, everyone dies. There was a settlement of English previous to this one in 1584, but it was so bad with the Native American tribe that it did end in violence. So, with this colony, things got so bad between the weather, the supplies, the fighting. White ended up leaving back to England to get more supplies in 1587. He thought he would be able to get back to the colony within about 3 months or so. But England had a war going on with Spain at that time, which meant that every ship was needed for the war effort. So his ship was also confiscated. So he didn't return to the colony until 1590. So it was 3 years after he expected to return. So when he got back there, there was no one there. Homes were disassembled and moved, but no traces as to where. The colony, the only clues that were found was the word Croatian or Croatoan.
No, Croatian. You're
okay.
right.
Croatian carved into a tree, and then the letters CRO were also carved into a tree on a separate one. There was no signs of struggle. Everything was just gone. White had told his people before he left back to England that if they were going to leave for any reason, weather, supplies, the Native Americans, whatever, they had to bounce out, basically, that they were to carve their destination into a tree. He thought they may have located to Hatteras Island, which was home to a friendly tribe of natives of Croatoan. So they were also supposed to carve a Maltese cross next to where they carved the name of where they were going if there was danger, and that's why that would be like the signal is that's why they were leaving. But neither tree had a cross carved into it. It just had the words.
Why not leave the note?
I think the note would probably get lost or
Weather
snow.
ruined. Or...
Yeah, this is in North Carolina. I think
This is
They
in the
didn't exactly-
1500s too.
yeah.
They didn't exactly have laminators and staples back then.
No, but I mean, like, just a note, put it in a lockbox and buried it somewhere or something like that. I don't know, but
They may not have had any of that. From the sounds of it, it didn't sound like they really had anything at all. Let's see. So, like I said, neither tree had that cross. So White was going to go to the island, the Croatoan Island, but foul weather and an uncooperative crew, who were almost to the point of mutiny, did not make that happen. He did end up having to go back to England, and he had no idea what became of settlers, including his family. And no concrete evidence of what happened has been found to this day.
wow.
Yeah, so he kind of got, because he lost his immediate family, including a soon-to-be grandbaby. So that sucks. Let's see. I think it said he died in his 70s. That might be wrong. Horde Verde, Brazil. Does that look right? Okay. On February 5th, 1923, a group of visitors discovered that 600 people that lived there were nowhere to be found. Everything looked to have been abandoned in great haste. Food and personal belongings were left behind. Authorities investigated, but they couldn't find any sign of where people went. So clues left behind were a gun that was recently fired and a message on a blackboard that said, "There is no salvation." There is once again no concrete evidence as to the disappearance. Just 600 people up and left.
Wow.
No bodies. That's the weird thing about these is there's like, other than the sled dogs, on any of these that I read and wrote this research for, like no people. This is the Roman 9th Legion. This one is pretty famous. We went over this in school. So it was formed around 65 BC. The 9th Legion was very feared for their fighting. They were like typical Roman badass that you would see on TV. There was about 5,000 men in it. All were highly skilled and pulled from various countries. By the 2nd century AD, they had laid waste to many enemies in Africa, Germania, Spain, the Balkans, and Britain. The 9th Legion was a part in fighting the barbarians turning within Britain. So the barbarians suffered great losses under the 9th Legion, and under the reign of Emperor Hadrian, AD, 117 AD to 138 is when he was emperor. The Romans were being killed off on battlefields of Britain. It got so bad, Rome erected a wall called Hadrian's Wall to keep the enemy out. The 9th Legion marched in around 109 AD, and then they went to what is now known as Scotland to fight the barbarians. I'm not sure what it was called before. It didn't say, so... These barbarians were ruthless. They had shamans, war drums, Celtic gods, etc. So the 9th Legion marched to push them north. It was then that the 9th Legion was never seen again. Not a single one of the thousands of men was ever accounted for. Some theories include that they were disbanded, sent to other battles. Others include that the barbarians bested them and killed them all off over time. There's no evidence of what actually happened. And in 2010, a movie called Centurion, which I think is on Netflix, and another one in 2011 called The Eagle, which I also think is on Netflix, have different adaptations of what may have happened.
So they all went there,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just disappeared.
Yeah.
How many men were there total?
It was about 5,000.
It's 5,000 men on the island of Scotland.
Mm-hmm. Gone.
That's... Wow.
Yeah. So that's why there's just no evidence of anything of what would have happened to them.
Huh.
Yep. So I think that's crazy.
Scotland's not an island, is it? Is it?
Oh my God.
Is
I
it?
think it is. I think Scotland is.
Is it connect? Oh God.
I wish
Do you
Eric
think
was
I'd
here.
know this?
Eric would know.
Yeah, he would.
Or is it a peninsula?
I think it's a peninsula.
Hold on a second.
Sorry, Scotland. We absolutely love you, and we want to go visit you someday.
I do.
Seriously, I would love to. I've been watching. On the side note, I've been watching.
Scotland's is a series of islands.
Okay. So
Has over
So it's not a
790.
peninsula. Okay.
Has over 790 offshore islands.
Okay.
I would go to any of them. I don't even care what's on there. I just want to go see it.
Ugh.
I've been watching Outlander.
Never seen it.
Oh God, so good. Super good.
Super.
That's a good show. I'm only on
Well,
season
They
1.
film a lot of Game of Thrones in like Scotland and Ireland too.
All the cool shit's filmed like in those places, like
And
New
Cro-
Zealand
And Croatia.
Yeah.
I read a list, and this was a couple of years ago, but I read a list of like it was like the top 100 most beautiful places in the world to visit, and Scotland was number 1.
Super jealous.
Wasn't New Zealand on that list?
Oh yeah, New Zealand was probably top 5 if I remember
I
correctly.
want to go to New Zealand so fucking
Me too.
I want
I
to
wanna
see.
walk the
I want to see
Mordor Trail.
Hobbiton. Yeah,
Yes.
and walk the Mordor Trail.
bad. All the way to Mountain Dew.
Yeah. And then throw your ring in.
And then throw my ring.
Like, it's just a trash can. Like, it's not really Mountain Doom here, man. There's like a Burger King. Son of a bitch. Let's see. So, a couple more here. China, 1937. This is crazy, too. I don't remember reading about this like when I was in school, but I'm probably paying attention. During the Second Sino-Japanese War, this would become to known as the Rape of Nanking, in which Japanese forces and then Chinese capital city of Nanjing, now Nanking, over a 6-week period, mercilessly massacred and estimated. This is 40,000 to over 300,000 civilians. That's just crazy numbers. Even the 40,000 is just crazy. If we're going for the bottom there, they killed, looted, and raped civilians. In the days leading up to this, Chinese Colonel Li Fuxin placed 3,000 heavily armed reinforcement troops along a 2-mile line in order to defend a major strategic bridge over the Yangtze River. The line included heavy guns and artillery. They were going to try and attack the Japanese as much as they could from this position. Li Fuxin went back to his headquarters to await the attack. The following morning, he was awoken by an aide who brought news that all the contact with the defense line had been lost. He launched an expedition to see, what the hell was going on. When the expedition arrived, they found all 3,000 men were gone. Posts were abandoned. Guns were still fully locked and loaded, ready to go. There was no signs of blood, no signs of struggle. Nothing. There was no signs as to where anyone went either. Like all the people gone. They did find some 2 sentries who were posted at the end of the bridge that were not part of the 3,000. They said nobody came that way. More sentries posted on the other side said the same thing. After the war, there was some efforts to find out what happened to the 3,000 men, but Japanese records show no hint as to what happened.
They could have just all went AWOL and just left.
The only way to do that, though, would be to pass from one point of the bridge to the other where the sentries were. And they said, both sides said nobody came by.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah.
And I mean, 3,000 heavily armed troops, and someone would have seen them.
Yeah.
Leaving if they went
if
AWOL.
not if they left their guns.
I know, but they still
That's
had
a lot
armor.
of people to walk by 2 people to go, oh, nobody came through here.
Well, I don't
Sorry,
know.
bro.
That's crazy.
Sorry, bro. Yeah, I was just like, wow. So they did say in the article that I read that the Japanese at the time was covering up a lot of the things that happened during the war to make it not look so bad.
Mm-hmm.
So they thought that maybe that could have been one of the reasons why nobody ever heard from these people again is because it was covered up. But I don't know. It's just crazy. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here's a couple random ones. In 1945, a train carrying hundreds of passengers heading from Guangdong to Shanghai, China, did not reach its destination. A search party never found any trace of the train. The only thing they found was a lake that sprung up from nowhere. Let's see, another one here. Last one real quick. November 1945, a group of around 100 Soviet forces heading for the train station vanished en route. An investigation found a half-set-up camp and a fire that had been put out, but no sign of the 100 men.
Wow.
So
That would have been, was that, was
During
World War II?
End of the World War II.
Yeah, say end
towards
of
the
it.
end of World War II,
Mhm.
yeah.
So that's your mass vanishings. That's going to be a part 1 right there because I found a lot more. I just think this is so cool. Like, it's probably not great, but, you know, if you're one of the people that I hope you found your way somewhere.
It'd be crazy to be a part of that, though. Like the Bermuda Triangle vanishings and all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wonder what happened
Or
to
like,
those things.
what, wasn't it, like, South Korea Air was having a problem with,
Yeah.
like, didn't they have, like, 2
Yeah.
full flights just, like, disappear?
That was another one that I was going to do on the next episode. Asia, 307, I think it was.
Yeah.
Flight 307.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the whole plane full of passengers just disappeared.
Yep, gone.
Yeah, that's got to be nuts.
Yep.
I mean, imagine where those people end up at. Like I said, some of them can be walking away, but I don't know. I mean, that's 3,000 men.
Yep.
Unless they just told
5,000?
the guys, hey, you didn't see anything. I mean, they could have been lying.
Would they have all kept the same story though? No.
You never know.
Three can keep a secret if 2 are dead.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's 4 of us here, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think these are they're fascinating to me. That colonies and people and towns, just 600 people gone. 120 people gone. Even like that's crazy.
Well, thank you, Nally. I appreciate the research on that one.
You're welcome.
That was Mass Vanishings, everybody, from the Don't Look at the Bed podcast.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Vance.
Yeah, Dan.
I know you talked about people getting a hold of us earlier, but how can they get a hold of us now? And also, what can they do to help us out?
The best way to get a hold of us is carrier pigeons.
What? No, that's not the best way.
It's not.
2 cans with the string.
And there it is. Thanks for listening, everybody. This has been the Don't Look at the Bed podcast, run by literally 2 cans of string.
No, best way to get a hold of us is email us, don't look under the bed, podcast@gmail.com. Our website is don'tlookunderthebed.net. We're available on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can listen to us on Spotify and iTunes. If you like what we're doing and you want to help us do more of it, that would be much appreciated. You can do that by donating to Patreon/DLUTB, or you can PayPal us directly at don'tlookunderthebedpodcast@gmail.com.
All right. And you can also look at us on YouTube as well. We should have some more content video-wise coming up here pretty soon. And also some merch. We're planning on doing T-shirts and coffee mugs maybe for people who listen to us at work especially. But we want to say thanks again to every single listener out there. We appreciate
every one of you.
We appreciate when you talk about us and when you share with your friends. That's amazing. If you want to send us emails, like I said, just do that because we really, really like reading your emails. Other than that, though, this has been the Don't Look Under the Bed podcast for all things comedy horror. My name is Dan Wonder. Next to me is
Natalie Rose.
Next to her is
Vinnie Rose.
And next to me again is
Nicholas Myers.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening.